Alright, text 40. Whatever. 7.
Or there is a program like Gurang Chandra was on. Tomorrow evening's program.
Yes.
Gurang Chandra was
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Text 40.
मात्रा आध्यात्मिकीं
विद्यां
समानीं सर्वकर्मणां
समानीं सर्वकर्मणां
वितरिष्ये यया चासौ
इतरस्य याचासौ
भयं चाति तरिष्यति
भयं चातितरिष्यति.
I shall also describe the sublime knowledge, which is the door to spiritual life, to my mother, so that she also can attain perfection and self-realization, ending all reactions to fruitive activities. Thus she also will be freed from all material fear. So Devahiti had the desire. Kardama Muni said, don't worry, your son will help you. And then now Lord Kapila himself is saying, I will take care, you don't worry. So everything is fulfilled without any disturbance.
How old is, or in this, like, how long before has Lord Kapila actually appeared? Is it just because it seems like he just appeared?
No, this is Sati.
Yeah, no, but when he is speaking,
How old is it?
he in that
But the
point?
girls are old enough to marry, no?
But what about Lord Kapila came much later?
Oh, he only came immediately after.
He just grew up.
The Lord can grow any hair.
No, so is it like he, because it seemed like from the description that the daughters were born much before,
Yeah.
and then Lord Kapila.
And remember, he told his wife to do austerities. So the austerity she performed for a few years, I believe. Then after she is qualified, then Lord Kapila took birth after that. Yeah. So we do not know the duration, how long she did the austerity for.
Yeah, and but no, my question was, okay, so she did austerity, then Lord Kapila is born.
Yes.
How much after that he is born that he is speaking this? Like that I couldn't understand. It's
Really.
not. I'm just saying it
Yeah,
seems
yeah.
like it is immediate like that, but it could be. Well, it could be
It's
anything.
possible because all his children were already born, but it doesn't say that they were born adults. So maybe he also took his. There's no baby pastimes. So it is possible that he grew immediately.
Maybe he spoke as a child.
Hmm?
Maybe he spoke when he was a child as well.
Yeah.
Could be. Because it says that Kardama Muni recognizes the Supreme Lord who has come, and now the Supreme Lord is speaking. So
Yeah.
it seemed like it's.
Well, it says he takes him to a secluded spot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that means there was some time after he took him. Yeah. Okay. All right. And the purport, Prabhupada says, Kardama Muni was anxious about his good wife Devahuti. So Lord is in the heart, he understood that while leaving home. And so the worthy son promised that not only would Kardama Muni be freed from the material entanglement, but Devahuti would also be freed by receiving instruction from her husband. So there's a guarantee given, A very good example is set here. The husband goes away taking the sannyasa order for self-realization. But his representative, the son, who is equally educated, remains at home to deliver the mother. Hey, you should be listening. Why are you going to a different place?
I forgot. I did not hear the class.
Okay, then I'll read for you. Kardama Muni was anxious about his good wife, Devahuti, while leaving home, and so the worthy son promised that not only would Kardama Muni be freed from the material entanglement, but Devahuti would also be freed by receiving instruction from her son. What did he say?
Devahuti would be freed by receiving instruction from
The son. A very good example is set here. The husband goes away taking sannyas, order for self-realization. But his representative, the son, is equally educated, remains at home to deliver the mother. So the Prabhupada is making very clear that the Mataji is always taken care, one way or another. So and then of course, sannyas means you go separately. No more, means it's really divorced from material life itself. Not just family and everything. You are actually fighting with the material nature. Yeah.
According to the system, you consider to be dead. The person is.
In that sense, yes, he is
I think
considered
also even
dead.
Indian legal system.
Yeah.
When somebody takes
Sannyas, really? Yeah? I didn't know that.
At least sometime back.
Sometime back. Maybe they might revise it or put some options over there.
They give certificate and all.
Yeah, that would be.
You can carry your own certificate.
Frame it and get.
At the Vanaprastha stage of retired life, the stage midway between householder life and renounced life, one may keep his wife as an assistant without sex relations. But in sannyas order of life, one cannot keep his wife with him. Okay. The next paragraph, Prabhupada writes, Kadama Muni followed the Vedic injunction that no one in sannyas life can have any kind of relationship with women. But what is the position of a woman who is left by her husband? She is entrusted to the son. And the son promises that he will deliver his mother from entanglement. A woman is not supposed to take sannyasa. So-called spiritual societies concocted in modern times give sannyas even to women, although there is no sanction in the Vedic literature for a woman's accepting sannyas. So you can see all the Brahma Kumaris, all those sannyasi ladies in the Varshana Dham, Kripalu Maharaj, he gives sannyas to women. He only has women with him. Otherwise, if it was sanctioned, Kadama Muni could have taken his wife and given her sannyas. So that's another thing. Eh? If it was in the Vedas, then Kadama Muni could have done that to his wife also. So finally, Prabhupada says the ideal son, Kapila Muni, is assuring his father of the deliverance of his mother so that his father may go peacefully without anxiety for his good wife. So nowadays, in ISKCON, you have to write a letter. The wife must say, okay, you can go and take sannyas. That's not, the husband cannot take sannyas.
But even then, it is very long process in this one.
It depends. You see, if you want to take sannyas, then your local people also has a say. They can write to GBC and say, this guy is not qualified. Yeah, they can do that.
Also, there's a waiting period.
That's first like a few years. If you're not above a certain age, you have like 5-year waiting period. After 50 is 5, I think. And then I don't know afterwards how.
After 60, I think
I have no idea.
Because after 60, we may live only a little while.
Yeah, maybe.
Now I think they're passing some resolution. Before 50, they're not doing.
Before 50, then good.
So there's some exceptions are there. That has to be released.
Yeah, I think so. I think it causes so much disturbance.
But during Prabhupada's time, he gave it to all
But
young
that's
boys.
different. That's
Emergency.
Emergency.
because Prabhupada had only a limited time and he wanted to establish all the different ashrams as fast as he can. He need preachers also. So that's why.
Sannyas in the fast.
Hmm?
By staying in house also, you can be a sannyas.
Yeah.
Like
Internally, Ritu Maharaj.
Raghunath, that's
We're talking about you.
Text 41.
मैत्रेय उवाच एवं समुदितस्तेन कपिलेन प्रजापतिः दक्षिणीकृत्य तं प्रीतो वनम् एव जगामः.
Sri Maitreya said, thus when Kardama Muni, the progenitor of human society, was spoken to in fullness by his son Kapila, he circumambulated him, and with a good pacified mind he at once left for the forest. Vanameva Jagamaha. So he left. Going to the forest is compulsory for everyone. It is not. It's not a mental excursion upon which one person goes, another does not. Everyone should go to the forest at least as a vanaprastha. Okay, then Prabhupada says a few lines down. The preliminary process to become freed is to go to the forest or give up family relationships and exclusively engage in Krishna consciousness. That is the purpose of going to the forest. Otherwise, the forest is only a place of monkeys and wild animals. To go to the forest does not mean to become a monkey or a ferocious animal. It means to accept exclusively the shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and engage oneself in full service. One does not actually have to go to the forest. Now he's confirming. At the present moment, this is not at all advisable for a man who has spent his life all along in big cities. So then what to do? So Prabhupada talks about Prahlad Maharaj, and in the end he says Prahlad Maharaj advised that one should give up this well, Andakupam, somehow or other, and take to Krishna consciousness. That means take up Krishna consciousness, and thus be freed from material entanglement. So you don't have to go to the forest, which is full of anxieties. That means you practice your Krishna consciousness. So for Grihasthas, Vanaprastha means you go with your wife traveling and preaching.
On the holy place.
Not just in the holy place, preaching. You can go holy place. Some devotees just go to holy place and come back and stay in their home, and then I don't know what they do. No, you should go and do some preaching. You have to, because you have gone through your life, and then you have so much to tell people what your experience as Grihastha was. So that is required. I think in ISKCON that's the biggest preaching tool we have. If you're a couple, you are very
No, I say okay.
yeah, you're very forceful, a strong force. People look up to couples. You're an individual guy, they say this guy don't know anything about my life. You don't know how much I suffer. You don't know all this thing. So therefore, Grihastha couple should, after 50, you should take up retirement and go traveling like that and preaching. Not just go to one farm and then, I mean, not you. I'm just saying, just go to India and farm and then sit down there. And you're not actually communicating the philosophy. So that's not really a good. Rather, if you can't travel much, you can at least invite people to your home, have a home program, and then give prasad, and that preaching should be there. More every day, you should do some kind of program. Until you cannot do, you drop. That should be the situation.
By the time your son, somebody is trained up, so they continue.
Anyway, if you are Vanaprastha, you don't have to worry about your son. If they are favorable, good. If not, then you depend on Krishna. That's all. Yeah, how do you know, right? What is the outcome? If you give your 10% training them nicely, and if they don't turn out the way you want, what can you do? You can't do anything. You just have to, accept that, this is not going to be. So that's just continue depend instead of blaming Krishna for it. I really put the guy in Krishna school and he's not Krishna. It's your fault. Can't do that. Everyone has, every individual has his own karma also. You can't. Remember the story of Rishya Shringa in Mahabharata. Right? When his father was meditating and one of the celestial ladies, who was there? Urvasi came. So he got excited, and so his semen fell and a deer took it up, and then the deer gave birth to a boy with the deer horns, and then dropped it near the sage himself, and he's like, what am I going to do? So he brought the boy up, but he thought I was disturbed with the woman, so he went to a very secluded place and raised the boy with all the Vedic knowledge, everything. So you're not going to be exposed to the society, so you won't have to worry. And he warned him, don't even look at a woman. So the boy is like, okay. In the meantime, in this kingdom, I think it's Romapad. No, Romapad. Romapad, Maharaj Romapad. So his kingdom was going through great, terrible drought. And then he called his priests and they did yagna and they say there's one solution. And then if your son can marry this boy, he's very, he has never seen any woman, but if he does that, he has the potency to bring the rain. And so then they figured a way of attracting the boy because he's trained to not to be. So the girls were dressed up in like boys, and then they went up the river to where this boy was kept by the father. So the boy felt there was something odd about these boys. They looked different, they looked cute and like that. So then they played with him, they laughed and giggled and kissed him and all, and they kept telling him, this is how we play, you know. So they aroused his emotions. So finally, the father came and asked him, what happened? You look different. He said, well, these boys came, and then he described, tell me who they are. They've dressed like that. He was like, something is wrong here. And then he told him, don't associate with them, and he went. And then while he went back to his own austerities, again the next day the girls came again. You know, the king planned it like that. So again they did that, and then they told him, why didn't you come with us? So the boy really got disturbed so much. He like, I will go. So he went. So when the sage came back, his son wasn't there. Then he could see through his vision what happened. He was very, very unhappy. So by the time he came to the king's kingdom, the boy was already married to the girl, the princess. So then he was so angry, but then he realized it's not in his control. So, you know, we can plan something, but Lord has some other. Then he said, okay, the boy can be with the girl until he has a child, a king's child, a prince or something, then he'll come back. So this Rishashringa is so powerful, the boy, that he's the one who is helping Dasarath Maharaj to bring the nectar so that Ram, Lakshman, Satrugna, Bharata take birth from. So such a powerful thing. The point I was trying to make is you have no control.
We do our part.
You do your part, yeah. So that's how it should be.
So one time one Grihastha asked Radhanath Maharaj.
Janak Maharaj?
Radhanath Maharaj, he
Okay.
asked one Grihastha.
Yeah.
He said, Maharaj, after the baby was born, so they went to meet the Maharaj, and Maharaj said, like, this one boy, I'm going to put so much effort now. Rest of my life, I would put so much effort. Instead of this, not having child, I could have gone and preached. So out of the preaching, at least 1 or 2% would have become devotee.
Devotee, you don't
Whereas
know.
this now, I am going to put so much energy on this boy.
I don't know.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
Like that he asked. And Maharaj said, yeah, whether he going to be devotee or not, that's between Krishna and him.
Yeah.
But one thing I can assure you, by doing this, you will be Krishna conscious.
Yeah. The main thing is your duty. The reason is a lot of problem is the parents get attached to their child too much, and then they expect the child to turn the way they want it to turn. So you're living your dreams through them. You know. So that becomes a difficult issue. Yeah. So in a sense, that's a difficulty for most parents. And when they don't become a good devotee and they become some nonsense, then it's even more painful. You know? I've seen that. You know, in some community devotee parents, kids are really rotten, or they become rotten for some reason. Nobody knows, right? They give them all Krishna conscious things, but somehow they turn out like that. So therefore, you have to be not dependent on all these things. You just be focused in the Krishna consciousness and don't be attached to the results. Yeah, don't be attached. Don't make it up in your mind that it's going to happen the way you dream. You can think one way, but the Lord may think another way. We say like that, but actually it's due to the boys or girls' karma. When you give them everything Krishna conscious, so you are Krishna conscious in giving them. So ultimately, at the end of the day, when everything happens, you are detached. Say, yeah, I did it. And people come and tell you why your son is so bad or daughter is so bad. Hey, I did my part. Don't come and harass me. Yeah, you should be detached. Instead of thinking, oh, my family members will say, these people will talk. Why you worry? You should think, what does Krishna knows how much I give this boy. Yeah. So that way you rise above the material things. Right. Okay. Text 42.
व्रतं स आस्थितो मौनम्
व्रतं शास्त्रितो मौनम्
आत्मैकशरणो मुनिः
आत्मैकशरणो मुनिः
निस्सङ्गो व्याचरत् शून्यम्
निःसङ्गो व्याचरत् शून्यम्
अनग्नेरनिकेतनः
The sage Kardama accepted silence as a vow in order to think of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and take shelter of Him exclusively. Without association, he traveled over the surface of the globe as a sannyasi, devoid of any relationship with fire or shelter. It means he wasn't doing any yagna, all those things. He was not cooking for himself. So all these things he wasn't doing. He was just traveling, and he doesn't mean he didn't talk at all. It means he didn't talk nonsense. Okay? Huh?
Spoke about only Krishna.
Yeah, only by whoever he meets, if they ask, he'll talk about Krishna. So Prabhupada writes here the words Anagni, Aniketana are very significant. A sannyasi should be completely detached from fire and any residential quarters. A grahastha has a relationship with fire either for offering sacrifices or for cooking. But a sannyasi is freed from these two responsibilities. He does not have to cook or offer fire for sacrifice because he is always engaged in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, he has already accomplished all ritualistic performances of religion. Aniketanaha means without lodging. He should not have his own house, but should depend completely on the Supreme Lord for his food and lodging. He should travel. That's a definition of what a sannyasi should do. Shouldn't have money, shouldn't have anything actually. Everything should be dependent on Krishna. If somebody gives him a nice place for a few days to stay, that's fine. But he shouldn't worry about it otherwise. Later on in the second paragraph, Prabhupada writes, it is said by Chanaka Pandita that a rascal appears very intelligent as long as he does not speak. But speaking is the test. The so-called silence of a silent impersonalist, Swami, indicates that he has nothing to say. He simply wants to beg. But the silence adopted by Kardama Muni was not like that. He became silent for relief from nonsensical talk. One is called a Muni when he remains grave and does not talk nonsense. Maharaj Ambarish set a very good example. Whenever he spoke about the pastimes of the Lord. Mauna necessitates refraining from nonsensical talking and engaging the talking facility in the pastimes of the Lord. In that way, one can chant and hear about the Lord in order to perfect his life. Vratam means that one should take a vow as explained in Bhagavad Gita. Amanitvam adambitvam, without hankering for personal respect and without being proud of one's material position. Ahimsa means not being violent. There are 18 processes for attaining knowledge and perfection, and by his vow, Kardama Muni adopted all the principles of self-realization. He was a very perfect sannyasi. He didn't talk unnecessarily.
So these 18 are the 1324. Amanitva, Madam, Vitan,
Yeah,
Shakti,
it's all that. Right? What's happening, boy?
About the fire, I was
Yeah?
I was remembering Prabhupada's initial days when he came to New York, 1965, as a sannyasi on Second Avenue, and he has taken the responsibility as a grasta of cooking and offering and then taking class.
Well, actually, you can't say he took the responsibility.
Means,
He took the role of a Paramahansa because that's the Acharya, setting examples. Yeah.
Well, here it says sannyasi.
Yeah, but that's a sannyas.
But how Prabhupada
Yeah.
did that also.
When Prabhupada gave sannyas to his disciples, he also told them, you don't do this and not that. Yeah, but as Acharya, he even taught the ladies how to put on saris.
His fire was
Yeah, he did yagna, he cooked for them, everything.
so much.
But that's beyond the ashram thing. He is Paramahansa. Huh?
He's a Uttamadhikari.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter what he did. People may ask you this, but you can say that he was setting exam, he was teaching, he was putting the foundation for the future.
In 6th chapter, first verse also. Someone got very inspired when I read it first time. Anashrita karma phalam karyam karma karmicha sasanyayuksi sanyogicha cha yogicha and then another chapter. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, one who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he is obligated is in the renounced order of life.
Yes.
And he is a true mystic, not he who lights no fire and performs no duty.
Yeah, that means if you just take sannyas for the wrong reason, and then you talk nonsense and all that thing, then you are not a sannyas. Real sannyas is Krishna conscious sannyas. Yeah, that's good. You remembered that. That's very nice.
624.
One.
First verse.
Yeah. Definition. You do it, but here you can see Kardama Muni wasn't thinking of making anything, any profit or anything. He's just doing it. So you remember Prabhupada said others are just taking a sannyasi and just simply to beg. In the purport, remember? Prabhupada says simply to beg. So that's not our role. We are not here to beg. We're here to give.
Traditionally in India, we see that sometimes people put their saffron and go on. They don't have any practice of self-realization.
Yeah.
They just beg money.
It's really tough now.
Prabhupada also had experience in his childhood. Like his father used to bring lots of some of them are
Straight, some are not straight. Yeah, it's not easy even now. But Prabhupada has set up some system for our sannyas so that they can at least travel, reach nicely. And mainly they are dependent on the grihasthas who have to set the programs and everything. Otherwise, it's very hard. Sannyas life is not easy. Text 43.
Mano Brahmanim Jano Yantat Sat Asatat Param Gunava Bhase Viguna Eka Bhaktyanu
He fixed his mind upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hara Brahman, who is beyond cause and effect, who manifests the three modes of material nature, who is beyond those three modes and who is perceived only through unfailing devotional service. The Prabhupada says, whenever there's bhakti, there must be three things present: the devotee, the devotion, and the Lord. Without these three, bhakta, bhakti, and Bhagavan, there is no meaning to the word bhakti. So whenever you're doing devotional service, you have to also ask yourself, am I doing for the Bhagavan or am I doing it for myself? Am I acting like a bhakta or am I acting like a bhakta? Is that bhakti or bhukti? Yeah. So all this must, we have to think actually. You see, Karanama is such an amazing example. Actually, it's first class. Fixed his mind on the Supreme Brahman and realized him through bhakti. He realized him very quickly. Or devotional service. Bhakti means devotional. This indicates that he fixed his mind on the personal feature of the Lord, because bhakti cannot be executed unless one has realization of the personal feature of the Absolute Truth. So Prabhupada makes it very clear. Because sometimes people read the word Para Brahman only immediately, he impersonal. But no. Unfailing devotional service. This is Bhaktyanu-bhavite. So it's very clear there. Exclusive. Eka Bhaktya. One pointer. Right? So later on in the bottom, Prabhupada talks about Sagunan Samityayetan Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate Mam Chayo Vyabhacharani Bhakti Yogina Sevate. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature, thus comes to the level of Brahman. Means they come above the three modes that are affecting. So, in other words, Prabhupada says, once the conditioned soul engages himself in devotional service, he also becomes liberated like the Lord. Yeah. So as long as you're doing devotional service, you are on the liberated platform. There is no reaction. So if you don't want reaction, then you have to always do devotional service. Text 44.
निरहङ्गतिर्निर्ममश्च निर्द्वन्द्वसमदृक्पदृक् प्रत्यक्प्रशान्तधीरः प्रशान्तोर्मेर्तिवो दधिः
Thus he gradually became unaffected by the false ego of material identity and became free from material affection, undisturbed, equal to everyone, and without duality. He could indeed see himself also. His mind was turned inward and was perfectly calm, like an ocean unagitated by waves. So he was not affected by the false ego element also. All these are elements that make up our body. So slowly everything is releasing from the jiva. Is free from material affection, means he is no more attracted to material things anymore. Modes of material nature cannot touch him anymore. Undisturbed. He sees everything as part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Equal to everyone. Everyone he can see as a servant of Krishna. So he is equal to everyone. Without duality. Whether it's difficult, all that he doesn't see anymore. Because everything is in relation to the Supreme Lord. He sees himself as a servant of the Supreme Lord himself. Yeah. So therefore he was perfectly calm. Prashantor mir. Just like an ocean, Ivo Dadihi. Perfectly calm, like an ocean. Where sometimes you go to ocean, you can see it doesn't move at all. You're wondering whether it's real or not. And then suddenly some breeze will blow, then you see it's slow. Otherwise, it's like glass, like that. Prabhupada writes in the purport, when one's mind is in full Krishna consciousness, and one fully engages in rendering devotional service to the Lord, he becomes just like an ocean unagitated by waves. Okay, calm. This very example is also cited in Bhagavad Gita. One should become like the ocean. The ocean is filled by many thousands of rivers, and millions of tons of its water evaporates into clouds. Yet, the ocean is the same unagitated ocean. The laws of nature may work, but if one is fixed in devotion service at the lotus feet of the Lord, he is not agitated, for he is introspective. So whatever happens, he gets sick, he got, so many things. He's not disturbed. He's not thinking, oh, why did I get sick? Why me? Like that, why I have to go through this difficult. Not thinking. He just, the body has to go through that. Oh, I deserve it. No problem. Let me continue with my devotional service. He does not look outside to material nature, but he looks into the spiritual nature of his existence with a sober mind. He simply engages in the service of the Lord. So there's nothing he's connecting with the material lifestyle, not at all. Everything he understands as spiritual in relation to Krishna. Okay. Therefore, such personalities are never agitated or disturbed, not at all. They're peaceful, they may be smiling because they are relishing. Text 45.
वासुदेवे
That focus is somewhere else.
Who?
It's the devotees.
Yeah, the devotee's focus is not a matter.
Yeah.
So,
Completely absorbed in Krishna.
always in Krishna. He's about to leave his body. Samadhi. He's in Samadhi. Yeah.
वासुदेवे भगवती
वासुदेवे भगवती
सर्वज्ञे प्रत्यगात्मनि
सर्वज्ञे प्रत्यगात्मनि
मरेण भक्तिभावेन
मदेन भक्तिभावेन
लब्धात्मा मुक्तबन्धनः
लब्धात्मा मुक्तबन्धनः.
He thus became liberated from conditioned life and became self-situated in transcendental devotional service to the personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, the omniscient supersoul within everyone. And Prabhupada, self-realization does not mean that because the Supreme Soul and the individual soul are both souls, they are equal in every respect. The individual soul is prone to be conditioned, tatastha, and the Supreme Soul is never conditioned. When the conditioned soul realizes that he is subordinate to the Supreme Soul, his position is called Labdhatma, self-realization or Mukta Bandhana, freedom from material contamination. Immediately, it can happen, immediately. In modes of nature, he is like, okay, I know why I'm going through this. I am no more disturbed by this. Let it be so. Completely resigned.
Completely resigned, so there are still waves of things coming in the mind, but the soul is completely resigned.
No,
Or
even
nothing
though thoughts come, he can just like, it's not me, it's bothering. It can bother the body like that.
They don't identify with
Yeah,
the
yes, they do
mind.
come.
They
That's
do.
the example of the ocean. The way the ocean, the desires or the thoughts are
It
still
will
coming.
come.
The rivers come in the
Right?
ocean.
Prabhupada was once asked, like sex desire. He said, it's there, but I don't think about it. For us, we like, focus on it. But his focus is Krishna service. Yamunacharya also. Say, when the
He
thought
goes one
comes,
step further, he spits at the thought.
spit at the thought. 'Cause
But
he's-
that means the thought has come.
Mm.
That's what we were heard in the Bible.
But thought has come in the early days, but
yeah, later
now
on
we are
he
talking
doesn't
about the
bother.
liberation point.
Point is, what he was saying is, he rejects such pleasures. That's what he said. But Prabhupada was saying that he doesn't think about it. When it comes, not interested. Walk. Do my service. Yeah. So the same thing here. Yeah. They're not going to pay any attention to it. Okay, the body gets sick, yeah, it will get sick. I'll take medicine, but I focus on my service, duty to Krishna. Don't let all the other things stop you. Because it happens, right? Sometimes you get really sick, then you're like, I have to stop. Okay, no more Mangala Arati because I really need to do all this other thing. So that means the material nature conquered. We gave into the thing. Yeah. Or you get a cold and then you're like, I don't want to go and do deity worship today because I got a cold. So what? You're only on the altar for how long? 1-2 hours max. Unless, what the Prabhupada said, unless you really cannot, you cannot walk, then you should do your service. Of course, if you got chicken pox or mumps or all those kind, you don't go, right? It's practical. You have to think. Full blown, contagious disease in your God, I'm doing service. That is not a service. Because everyone gets sick and then that's a disservice.
But if the cold is too much,
It's not that. Cold is all okay. Unless you have a serious flu or whatever. I tell you what, if you take medicine, like antibiotics, then you're not as infective as you don't.
no, I'm talking in terms of cleanliness.
Well, depends how bad your cold
If
is.
you're running all over,
Yeah.
already
Like
it's
little boys or girls, you see always running everywhere. Not like that.
if you're sneezing all the time, probably it's not
Yeah,
very
it's
different.
not also good if you sneeze on the deity. You have to be careful you sneeze on them because a wind may blow on you. Reaction. You walk out the temple, boom, you fall and then you think, what happened? Oh, I sneezed on the Lord. Or you take the pin and poke on the Lord and you step on a nail. Reactions. Yeah, so here the understanding is full consciousness to the Lord, Parabhakti. Full consciousness, doing eternal service to the Lord is Parabhakti. One has to think like that. By performing pure devotion service, you become pure devotee. Basically, that's what it is. Sarvagya, omniscient. The Lord is Sarvagya. He knows everything. He's in your heart. So he knows what your past karma is, so you don't have to worry about that. So according to your past activities, even if you are doing service, he will reward you in this situation, whether more or less. So you have to accept that. So sometimes you are doing something and then you get really sick and all, and you feel like, why, right? Then you have to understand, I deserve it. Okay, Lord, I deserve it, but at least let me tolerate it. Yeah, let me tolerate and do my service. Prabhupada writes in the end, one should not think that he's freed from reaction because he has forgotten the actions of his past life. That's because in previous life I don't remember. Doesn't mean I won't get reaction. Prabhupada says reactions will take place, and what kind of reactions there will be is judged by the super soul, the witness. So if you are a devotee, then the reactions may be minimized because you're doing some service. But if you are not, if you're ordinary, then you do. But if you are a devotee and don't want to do service, do nonsense, then the Lord says maybe you need more sickness because that is your condition. You don't want to do service, so you are acting like a sick person. So be sick.
But then it still doesn't satisfy because we don't want to do service and enjoy.
Yeah.
We don't want to do service and enjoy, but if we are sick, we can't enjoy, so it's frustrating again.
It is worse when you are sick than when you are not sick. So the Lord will give us the right punishment. Text 46.
आत्मानं सर्वभूतेषु
आत्मानं सर्वभूतेषु
भगवन्तम् अवस्थितम्
भगवन्तम् अवस्थितम्
अपश्यत् सर्वभूतानि
अपश्यत् सर्वभूतानि
भगवत्यापि चात्मनि
भगवत्यापि चात्मनि.
He began to see that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is seated in everyone's heart and that everyone is existing on him because he is the super soul of everyone.
So one more way of saying Sarvasya Charam Desanisthu.
No, there's another verse.
The other verse, I am in them and
So
No, 5th chapter, Bhagavad Gita. Sunichaiva Swabhakacha Pandita Samaddarsha. Text 47.
इच्छाद्वेषविहीनेन
इच्छाद्वेषविहीनेन
सर्वत्र समचेतसा
सर्वत्र समचेतसा
भगवद्भक्तियुक्तेन
भगवद्भक्तियुक्तेन
प्राप्ता भागवती गतिः
प्राप्ता भागवती गतिः.
Freed from all hatred and desire, Kardama Muni, being equal to everyone, because of discharging uncontaminated devotional service, ultimately attained the path back to Godhead. Uncontaminated devotions, which means ahetuki apratiha. Then yayadma suprasad. First ahetuki apratiha. Not caring for anything. Yeah. So when we are taking up the service, we are actually at the lower platform. Kanistha. Prabhupada didn't want us to remain in the Kanistha platform. He always wanted us to move higher, at least to the Madhyam platform. Why Madhyam is important? Not only that, why else?
so you're fixed.
Yeah, you are fixed.
And we will actually respect devotees.
You will fix, you can respect them, and you can also help the innocent. Yeah. Otherwise, you cannot. You cannot do that. So it's imperative, especially for us, because we are in this movement where Prabhupada wants us to preach. So to preach, you must come to Madhyam. You cannot preach otherwise. You can say some things, but you yourself are not convinced. How can you really help people if you're not convinced? To be convinced, one has to constantly hear and read Prabhupada's books. Otherwise, you cannot. You won't be convinced.
We want to sustain our own devotional service.
Yeah.
We have to be situated.
Yeah, you have to be disciplined. So you have to read every day. Not when you like us, when, okay, today maybe I'll give Prabhupada a chance. Listen to the lecture. Right? Honestly, like Prabhu was saying, even for us to be situated properly, you have to be listening to Prabhupada's lectures. Actually, Prabhupada's lectures are very potent.
Yeah, you told us that last time.
Yeah, it's really You just listen to 20 minutes of him, it will be like, especially the heavy ones.
Yeah, you just smash it.
And then you will see the whole day how you feel. You can understand. It really goes straight into your heart. It speaks straight to you, the jiva.
There's always be something which you think you can never think of in your 100 lifetimes. Like one realization,
Yes.
something like that.
Something.
It's like magic. Like,
It's
can't-
magic, yeah.
can't
Because
think
he's
like that.
realized it's pure.
Every lecture there's something like that.
Yeah. And it's simple things, you know. It's not complicated things he's saying. Simple thing. And you're like, wow, okay, Prabhupada is right. You feel ashamed, embarrassed. So that's important because then you can rise to Madhyam platform. You can have that knowledge that Prabhupada gives and then you can share it with new people so that they also can understand, oh yeah, this is. You don't have to change, you know. Sometimes people think they can present it better than Prabhupada. You don't need to do that. Just try to remember exactly how you say it and say it. And bottom line is sincerity. If you try to twist and turn, means you are not, actually you are trying to take the Acharya's position. We don't want all. No need. Actually, no need. Be simple in your thing. Don't be attached to the quantities or I did so many people today. I preached to 10 DYS people. Next week I'll do 20. Next year I'll do 100. I'll be the greatest DYS. It sounds like what? Sounds like what?
Ishwaroham.
Ah. So that all that is not our thing. No, our thing is Srila Prabhupada wants us to give them, we give them. Simple as possible, we give them, and let's see how effective it is. If you're sincere, it doesn't matter. Sometimes you'll see over years you may not get many people, and then suddenly because you have maintained the same consciousness, Krishna will send so many. Even then you won't be attached. Then you'll realize this is Krishna's deal. This you can realize quickly when you're out on books. You go books, you give, oh I want to give 100 books. It's too bad. You go home, nothing. Any books? No, I didn't distribute. Then after a while, Krishna will give you a little taste. Then you give, wow, so nice to give one book. You know, like that. Then later on, you don't even try, people will come, I want your book. What? Really? Yeah, take. And then you think, I'm not doing it.
Gaurang Prabhu was explaining once that he was in the Bombay local train and his one hand was holding his bag, the other hand was holding onto the handle and the train was so crowded. And somebody saw him and said, do you have Bhagavad Gita?
Yeah.
So Prabhuji said yes. So he said, give it to me. Prabhuji said, no way I could release both of my hands. So I said, it's in my bag.
You take.
So you take it, he took it, then he said, how much? So Prabhuji, whatever money. And then Prabhuji said, put it in my pocket. So Prabhuji said, I'm not the doer, I didn't do it.
Yeah. It's a fact. So many times. That's why I say you can learn very fast all these things
You go out.
if you go out on books, because the mercy is like a lot more when you do it. You're dependent, you got no choice. Many times I also experience the same thing in the train station. Whole day waiting, people will just like, not interested. Then all of a sudden, people start walking to me and say, I want the book. What? Yes, take. In half an hour, all the books were gone.
Oh my
No,
It's
and
like,
here,
how
Prabhuji
is
was
that
telling,
possible?
my hands were occupied.
Yeah, that I know he's also saying that. But my point is, Krishna arranged for you that the books will just go. You're not the doer, actually. You're not the doer.
Yeah, it happened to me in Seattle once.
Yeah, you see,
Like,
you know.
one lady came and after a long struggle of not distributing even a single book, what is it that you are handing out? I said, this is Bhagavad Gita. I take one. I didn't even have to talk to her. She came.
Yeah. Ultimately, Krishna sees your enthusiasm, your devotion, and then your determination. Yeah. So that's mainly important. So therefore, we also have to become like that. And Prabhupada says, the process of entering into the kingdom of God is Tripada Bhuti Gati, or the path back home, back to Godhead, by which one can attain the ultimate goal of life. Kadama Muni, by his perfect devotional knowledge and service, achieved his ultimate goal, which is known as Bhagavati Gati. Bhagavati, destination of devotee. This is one of the goals of Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? One of the goals of going back to the ultimate. Samambunam. Ultimate.
This is one of the goals.
Hmm?
Ashraya. Ashraya, you're saying.
Ultimately is Ashraya. Well, some people are satisfied with the Vaikuntha liberation. Some are satisfied with the Brahman liberation. Ultimate goal is Ashraya.
Nirodho Muktirashaya.
Because Bhagavati Gati is not Ashraya.
Yeah, it is Ashraya.
Because that's what I got confused.
No,
Is
it
one
is
of the
Ashraya.
goals?
I'm saying there are many alternatives for different people. But for devotee, ultimate goal is Ashraya, complete surrender.
I was thinking this verse 47 starts with Ichha Dvesha Vidhinena, and Bhagavad Gita verse starts with Ichha Desha Samuthena. And that's why we are coming here, because we have
Yeah, so
desire and hatred.
through that you came, now
And now
you give up that,
and,
you go.
you go.
Same thing, no? It's the opposite face.
The opposite.
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
He's doing devotional service when the Lord himself is becoming a son. He wants he should be associating with him. But he went away.
We discussed that. Yeah.
Right? No, but here again says that realizing super soul is a permanent. That's what he's saying. He realized slowly the super soul.
No, he's realizing not the. He's actually seeing the Supreme Lord in the heart.
Away from him, but he's staying.
No. Prabhupada also explains very nicely in the purport. He says there is, according to ashram, you do certain things, and then one of the principles is following Vedic culture. So one of that within that he had to leave his family. Yeah. So to set a good example, Karma Muni left even though his son was already the Supreme Personality God. And therefore the Lord said, that's right, you are setting good example. You should do that. And he also blessed him as such. Yeah. So to show people this is what you are supposed to do. Not that, everyone can say my son is Supreme Lord and they can stay at home. Yeah. It's happening already, so many things.
He is giving assurance. By doing this, you are not going to miss me because you will be constantly.
You're always there. Then he says that also. You're always seeing me in the heart. Yeah, I know you always say. But that is the reason. But I say also, people will ask this question. Yeah.
And the second one is Paramatma realization essential. That's what
For us, Paramatma realization is not something we go through. By worshipping the Lord, like Prabhupada explains also, you look at the picture of the Lord, there's effulgence or Brahman is there. And he is the same person in your heart. So we don't have to separately realize all that. Yeah. Automatically you will realize he is in my heart. I'm his servant.
Actually, he is saying Bhagavan.
Yeah, you're saying Bhagavan. You don't need to be at that level. It's all inclusive in the Bhagavan. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Because Brahman realization is incomplete though. Yeah. So is Paramatma because there's no relationship. The first one has no form, nothing. You can't do anything. Second one, no relationship. If you're just not going to. Bhakti means you must have a relationship. Give love and receive love. So that's Bhagavan. Alright, so that's the end of the Bhakti and the purpose of the third canto, 24th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entire renunciation of Kardama Muni. So we'll finish there. Do lunch there. So tomorrow is
at Gaurang Chandra Prabhu's home at 6:30. Prabhu and Mataji are serving dinner prasadam at 6:30. So 6:30 to 7:30 dinner.
Marriage day.
6:30?
6:30.
6:30 to 7:30.
Their home is every day.
6:30 is dinner.
6:30 to 7:30 dinner.
Every step is a dance. Every word is a song. Every day is a festival.
Every moment. 25 is the glory of